Hi, my name is Chad Bullard, and when I was given the Purposeful Play project, I knew I had to do something involving music. If you know anything about me, my life revolves around music. I'll give you a little bit of an example. I'm in an orchestra, I'm in a choir, I am an audio engineer for my church. I listen to music all the time. There's always music going through my head. So I knew this project had to involve music. When I started to think about how I was going to take music and play with it, I originally thought, well, maybe I'll play a piece. But that's just so unoriginal because that's what I do every single day. So I thought about it a little bit more and I thought, okay, here's what I'll do. I'll write a piece of music. I will write a new piece of music. This is not mine, because I realized that plenty of people also do that. And so I brainstormed a little bit longer, and it occurred to me that what I really wanted to do was mess with music, was to mess it up somehow. And not just wreck it, but to mess with this specific quirk that exists within the realm of classical music. So when you're dealing with classical music, there are these rules that pertain to chords. So you're going through chord structures, and you've got a chord built off of a certain note, and it can only go to a certain couple of different chords in the next chord progression. So as you progress through all of these chords, you end up with a very rigid predictability in classical music. And so, having played classical music in the orchestra and the choir and been around it for my whole life, I knew that was something that I was interested in breaking. But I didn't want to just break the rules. The rules have been broken before. There's this entire era called 20th century music, and it's very atonal, it's kind of confusing, but early 20th century music just completely rejects classical rules and creates its own thing. So I knew that had been done before, but I thought, what if instead of just breaking the rules, what if I changed the rules? So what I meant by this was taking a piece which I listened to many pieces on this popular website. You probably can't read this, but it says petruccimusiclibrary.org. That is part of the international music. Oh, I don't know the rest of it, but it's imslp.org. It's a wonderful resource. Musicians all over the world use it for free music so that they can practice well. This is one of the pieces on it. This is a Mozart piece. It's called Cantique number 94. I found this piece by listening to a whole bunch of different pieces. Why did I choose this piece? I chose this piece because, if you can see it, these are kind of large block chords, so they very much follow a chord structure, and this is a Mozart. Mozart is just classical. Mozart is classical. So, knowing that I had a Mozart and some classical chords, I was looking at it and I just thought, what if, instead of going forwards through the music, in order to break these rules, I go backwards through this music? There are multiple pages to this music, so what I did was I took this music from the imslp.org website, and I took this wonderful open source software called MuseScore 2. This is a composition software that lets you input notes, and it will actually play it back for you with different sounds. And so I took this piece and I put it into MuseScore in its original format. And then I took the same piece of music and I went backwards through MuseScore. And so that produced a certain sound. But I thought, that's great and all, but that doesn't seem like enough for an entire project. And so what I did was I took this piece and I thought of this one thing that it happens to me when I'm playing music. The band director will say, we're moving on to a new piece. And I think, oh no, that's still in my folder. And so I'm violently ripping sheets of music out, and I throw it on the stand, and I get ready to play my instrument, and the sheet of music is upside down. But this isn't something that immediately occurs to me because of this unique quirk of music. Within the stave, there are 5 lines and 4 spaces, and if you can see, there are note lines that stem off of them. But the amazing thing is what happens when you look at the same piece rotated upside down. There are still 5 lines and 4 spaces, and there are still lines pointing up and down off of the notes. This can still be read. And so I thought, how wonderful would it be if I took this piece of music and went through the entire piece with the page upside down? And so that is what my project became. So I'm first going to play the original Cantique number 94, which is this one here, all of it. I took this piece and I put it in to MuseScore and I played it, and this is what it sounds like. Now I'm going to give you a disclaimer. There are some odd pauses in the recording, and the reason those exist is because of this part down here of the piece. This is actually a piece that is written for a 4-part choir with a piano accompaniment, but I was really only interested in the chords created by the choral voices. So I completely dropped off the piano accompaniment to make it a little bit easier to understand what was going on with the chord structures. The unfortunate side effect is that there are some awkward pauses a couple of times where it was just the piano playing. On top of this, I was unfortunately unable to get a choir to cooperate with me in reading a piece of music backwards and upside down, so I used MuseScore and I used the piano sound because it's a very clean sound and very easy to kind of understand and hear what's going on. So this is Cantique number 94 in its original format. Here we go. And now I'm going to play for you Cantique number 94, and I've called it brilliantly Cantique number 94 backwards, which is exactly what I've done. So here we go with that. Alright, and now I want you to notice something. So, when you listen to the original, I'm hoping that you heard that it was a very resolved piece of music. It felt like Cantique number 94 was just answering a question. As you listened to it, as it went through the music, it was wonderful. It was, oh, this is nice, this is pleasant. It feels like it ended. And then you listen to Cantique number 94 backwards, and I just want you to realize that it almost sounded like it was asking a question. It was like, what is going to happen, instead of what happened. It's not saying this happened, it's going, what will happen? And it's such a unique aspect. I now want to play for you Cantique number 94, Rotated. was the fact that rotating the piece of music just almost sounded pleasant at first until everything went horribly wrong. And I think that is a testament to the fact that when you rotate the piece of music upside down, you're actually changing what the notes mean, whereas reading it backwards, you're still reading these chords that are placed, you're just going through them backwards. And so I think the ultimate takeaway from this piece is that, first of all, rotating music is not something that sounds pleasant and shouldn't be used in compositions, but moreover, going through a piece forwards gives it one effect, but then taking the same piece and going through it backwards can produce this marvelous effect of this call and response in compositions. When I initially set out with this project, it was purely with the intention of messing with the sound of music and just breaking it and seeing how bad I could do. But I think what I ran into, what I sort of stumbled upon with this project, was that in actuality, reading a piece forwards and backwards gives this wonderful effect in composition that can be used to create amazing new sounds in compositions that haven't been seen before. And I think that that is the wonderful product of my project. Thank you.